So I made so many videos about IELTS now that I'm bored of it, and I want to do something that is beyond that. And since we Indians are very keen on learning English, so it's not only about IELTS here. There are many other exams that are, I think, equally or more difficult. So now I'm going to talk about Language Cert C2 exam. I took it. Fortunately, I got a very high score also, and I became a certified expert user. And I'm gonna walk you through that exam. I'm gonna make you privy to that exam so that you can also get to know like what it is about and if it is useful or not. It is useful, and it is recognized as in by the UK government and all. So first of all, let's see what it is about. So this is the official website, as in LanguageCert C2 offers and all that, all those things. As in LanguageCert offers high stakes exams that are officially recognized by an ever-growing number of higher education institutions, organizations, and government bodies in the UK and internationally. LanguageCert is regulated by whatever and qualification Wales and is a home office approved provider of CELT exams for UK visas and immigration, and they're recognized people, and their exams are no less than IELTS and all. So what happened that as I was going through my journey of taking exams, I had come across this exam on Instagram. There was an ad, and there was this thing that you could take this exam from home. But remember, they are very strict. They will check, you know, every nook and cranny of your room before they allow you to take the exam. So do not take it for anything that you can cheat or something, because the exam will be, you know, shut down from their side. So be careful about that. Let's see as in how I fared in this exam. So they have this option that you can take listening, reading, and writing and speaking on the same day, or you can take listening, reading, and writing on one day and speaking on another, as is the case with IELTS. I took the other option only, as in I took speaking on one day, and some days later I took the written part. So they give scores out of 50 um, for each of the exams, and you can see. So it's not that it was the first time that I got a C2 badge or anything. I had achieved that in IELTS twice. My CFR levels were already at C2 in both academic IELTS and general training IELTS. So you can see GT C2, GT C2, and academic also C2. But this exam had this beauty that there were different exams for each level, as in you could have an, I think, B2 level exam, you could have uh, maybe a C2 level exam, a C1 level exam, or whatever you wanted. And I chose for the best, as in I had been through many, so I didn't want to take any lower level exam. So the first thing that they give you is, uh, you know, the two things that I got first were these badges, as in that you're certified with the C2 badge for listening, reading, and writing, because I took it separately, so I got a separate badge. But otherwise, also it's separate. And then for the speaking part, also C2, and the detailed results, like this was the speaking test result, and I got 46 on 50. And then you have your certificate also. There are levels, I think, pass, high pass, and I think fail. So I think for a high pass, you needed perhaps 35. I would go to their website. I will take you to their website, and you can see it over there. We can check that. And so is the case with the other ones. You get score out of 50, you know, in listening, in reading, and writing. So all in all, as in 47, 47, 44, and 46. So I had a cumulative, you know, figure of 184 on 200. Yeah. So let's see the exam now, what it is about. I think these are the question papers. Sorry. Yeah. So as you can see, the exam fee is not that much, and on top you can take it from home. Sorry. So first of all, the format, the listening part lasts this much, and the reading and writing part lasts this much, and then CD and paper based and all those things. And after that, the listening format, as in there were various kinds of questions, as in first you had some small conversations, then there was I think a monologue type thing, and you had to write the answers, subjective questions and all. MCQs were there in abundance, and then again MCQs and all, and then you had to write some questions also, some answers also. And it was not only about direct conversations, I would say it was also about figurative conversations, where I had to actually deal with the idioms and all. People were not talking straightforward. People were talking in a way that was idiomatic. As in, I remember there was a conversation that said, um, there was an idiom regarding heels or something, take to the heels or something. So I had to, recall the meaning of the idiom also in order to answer that question. Reading was again, it was straightforward at points, but it was also, I'll try to make a comparison with the, IELTS in another video. I'll make a comparison video, but prima facie, I can say that reading was on a par with the IELTS reading. So was the case with the listening, but in this exam, you can play the audio twice. So yeah, here also reading was somewhere direct, somewhere metaphorical. Also, a text was completely abstract, completely literary, as in a person who is not interested in who is not interested in literature, or who is not well versed in this kind of genre, where he is not able to grapple with the abstract ideas, might flunk that part. Reading also had certain types of questions. You had to drag and drop, you had to write answers, you had to true false, and you know all that shebang. Narrative, explanatory, short answers, many a thing, I would say. Writing again has a lot of variety. Writing is what I got was one I had this there was a letter, I guess. And yeah, there was a letter with with an essay kind of touch, where I had to um, write to an editor about something he had written about a female uh, racer, by also touching on the idea of feminism, as in the larger issue that victory represented. And there was a story where I had to wake up 10 years later and describe my experience. So there was a letter and a story. Yeah. But there are some other kinds of things also: produce a personal letter, a narrative composition story, or a descriptive composition, write a letter, report, argument using and graphic, blah, 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 whatever. Let me show you the question papers. So this is the listening, reading, writing question paper. Yeah, something of that sort was there. Yeah, in some of them I had to choose the best reply, like this one. You had to actually grasp something, as in, if two people are talking, you had to uh, infer where they were talking. As in, it was not only about what they were talking about, but it was also about your making inferences about inferences from listening to their conversations. So not something that is a walk in the park. That is a walk in the park for someone who is a novice. Then the vocabulary matter, of course. This was something I think for me. The subjective answers were in regard to a game, perhaps. You can see the type of paper that is it that it is. And then I think the last part was a conversation between three professors who talked about, I think, jewelry, jewelry education or something. And I had to do these questions as in based on that conversation, 6 questions. This conversation was long, I think. Then reading, as in part 1, it was all about true false. I had a set of questions, as is the case here. Then filling these blanks using these options. So it was more of a drag and drop thing. Like I had to understand the context, and I had to insert these pieces of information in order to make it a coherent piece. Then this one, this was, I think, about I had to assign to these questions uh, those paragraphs that talked about their respective issues. So include information aimed at tourists. In which text does the author, whatever, which text is saying the following or something. And then came, I think, this one that had answers to be written using words. Then, of course, writing, as I told you. For me, it was a letter that touched on the issue of feminism, women empowerment, using an example that was presented to me by them only. And then there was this story where I had to wake up 10 years later and describe my experience. After that, speaking, if I talk about, that was also that I can even right now say was, you know, okay, I would have to, assume a great deal. I should not be making a comparison here, but I can say that even if it was not more difficult than IELTS speaking, it was as difficult as it is for sure. But I'll make a comparison video soon. Let me show you the format first. Yeah. So initially she asked me some questions in regard to, as in more of a perhaps speaking part 3 types questions in IELTS. So something of that sort. Then came 2 role play activities where the examiner assumed a role and I had to be spontaneous to, respond. Then came a chart where I had to give a description of what the bullet points were about. And she also interfered using her own inputs in order to ask me questions about how I could tackle those subparts that were, put forth on the spot by her also. So it was also a bit more academic than IELTS speaking, where the questions, okay, IELTS is no less, I would say, sorry. Then part four, follow-up questions regarding the chart only. Luckily, I had not had to go through these because I think they are not essential. Perhaps I do not know, because she said as in up to part three I was good, so I scored a very high score also. But maybe these are not essential, but whatever. Let me walk you through the question paper. Yeah. Part one, how important do you think money is, or whatever? Okay, speaking part one or part three, I do not remember if I have to have a corresponding component in IELTS. Yeah, I think for me it was about traffic, as in one of the questions and one of the topics, and one more was there. I do not remember right now, actually. Then this role play thing, she had assumed the role of a friend who was going somewhere, and I had to be, the caretaker of her kids, and we had a conversation. And one role play was more, um, you know, that was conducted by her, where I think she, perhaps it was a friend kind of thing, or I do not remember. So there were two role plays as far as I can remember. Then came such a thing where I had to uh, explain to her all these, there was a question, you can read here. I think my topic was about, uh, I think it was about exchange of money. I had various components in front of me, credit card, cash, and all those things. And as I was going through each of them, she tried to ask me some questions regarding what I was talking. As in, at a point when I said paper money was a source of disease transmission, she said, would all the diseases be eliminated if there were no paper money? Then I had to respond to that. And then I came to the next point or something. And then I had to decide decide on which the best source was, as in, again, a formidable activity. Then some follow-up questions, but they were not asked to me. I do not know why. Yeah. So in all, it was a good experience, and the people were very helpful also. And just that at certain points when I was talking to the interlocutor before the exam, I thought I had some network issues while talking to the person. But during the exam, there were no connection issues and all. The things were copacetic at my end because I had taken many exams, at home. And with them also, as in when I was taking the listening test, I didn't face any problems of this sort. But at the start, I had this issue that I was not able to talk to the interlocutor properly, or proctor, whatever she was. But otherwise it was smooth, and they delivered the uh, results, I think, in about, I do not remember, maybe 3 days or 4 days, something of that sort. And it was a good exam, good experience if you want to test your English, you know. Otherwise also, even if you do not have to emigrate or anything, it's a good way to test yourself. And the C2 is the highest level of English, and if you can achieve that, you should be proud of yourself. But English is not everything, so it's not necessary for sure, but it is something that you can use to, you know, achieve this goal or whatever. And also it's recognized, so you can take this one also in place of IELTS if your uh, you know, university or college has come to terms with it. And I hope this video was useful. I'll make more videos on this exam. Till then, ciao.